Okay, so you're saying that Jesus cannot be, or it doesn't make sense for Jesus to be the same God as the Old Testament because they behave differently? What do you mean? Prove that.
I mean, he was like more. He would stone. The law would say stone them for like for adultery or you know like idols and stuff like that, and God seemed like he was more of like a military type person.
Okay, and you're saying that Jesus
Seems more like hippie
seems more
loving.
hippie. Okay. Um, prove one of those claims.
All right. Well, Joshua, he told Joshua to go take this land.
Mm-hmm.
Kill all the livestock, all the women and children, all the you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I know
I
the
have to look up one
context
of those verses.
of that was because if they didn't, it would sink into their culture and destroy their relationship with God.
Yeah, yeah. But here's the hang on, let me pull that up. Let me pull up a verse on that anyway. Deuteronomy 31. So Moses continued to speak these words to all Israel. He said, yada, yada, yada. You shall not go over this Jordan. The Lord your God himself will go over before you. He will destroy these nations before you so that you shall dispossess them. And Joshua will go over at your head as the Lord has spoken. So the word here is, he does use the word destroy, but the point is to dispossess them. It's not to like destroy every single living inhabitant. It's simply to remove their ability to control the land. So that way the people of Israel would be the ones actually controlling the land. And how do we know that? We know that because when we look forward in the Bible, we move from Deuteronomy, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua. When you move from Deuteronomy into Joshua, then you get the story of Jericho's capture. Um, Joshua, let me see if I can actually remember where in Joshua that's at specifically. Um, you get the commander of the Lord's army that shows up. I would say this is actually Jesus in the Old Testament. When
Mhm.
Joshua was by Jericho, he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, a man was standing before him with his drawn sword in his hand. And
Mhm.
Joshua went to him and said to him, Are you for us or for our adversaries? And he said, No, but I am the commander of the army of the Lord. Now I've come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth and worshipped, and said to him, What does my Lord say to his servant? And the commander of the Lord's army said to Joshua, Take off your sandals from your feet, for the place where you're standing is holy. And Joshua did so. So
Mhm.
this phrase right here, Joshua fell on his face and worshipped, and here take off your sandals. Whoops, I'm not trying to highlight this whole thing. Take off your sandals from your feet, for the place where you're standing is holy, right? Both of these indicate that the person he's talking to is actually God, because you don't worship angels,
Right.
right? The book of
Right.
Revelation makes that clear. When the Apostle John
Yes.
falls down and worships the angel says, Don't worship me. So, whoever this commander of the Lord's army is, he's accepting the worship of Joshua without rebuke. He's higher than an angel.
Right.
And he makes the place where he's standing holy, such
Right.
that Joshua has to take off his shoes. When was the last time someone had to take their shoes off because where they were standing was holy ground?
When the law was given to Moses.
Okay, well, I mean, actually, no, I don't think it happened there. Maybe it did, but I mean, even that works. Who was that? That was God. Um, but I'm thinking the burning bush,
Yeah.
right? God in the bush. Um, take off your sandals, for where you're standing is holy. That was God. But this commander figure is saying the same thing. No, this is God. Like I said, I would argue specifically it's Jesus, the Son, because it's the Son that makes the Father known.
Mhm.
But when you go on to read the story of Jericho, not everyone in Jericho dies. Rahab makes it out. Um, I know for a fact that Rahab makes it out. I don't know if there were any others that survived, but I know that Rahab made it out. Why? because she decided she was going to worship the God of Israel.
Right.
Let me see if I can actually find that. Because she heard about what had happened.
Right. And
Shout for the Lord's giving the city and all that's within it shall be devoted to the Lord for destruction. Only Rahab the prostitute. Yeah, there was more than that. Rahab the prostitute and all who are with her in her house shall live, because she hid the messengers whom we sent.
uh
Right? So, like, Rahab and all her people made it out. So, no, it wasn't like everyone in Jericho goes. If there was anyone else in Jericho that decided that they were gonna worship the God of Israel, they would have made it out too. I was just trying to find the specific spot where she said that, but that may have been earlier. Joshua 2:8-16. Here it is. Before the men lay down. So when they sent spies to go spy out the land, um, before the men lay down, she came up to them on the roof and said to the men, I know that the Lord has given you the land, and that the fear of you has fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land melt away before you. For we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea before you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites who were beyond the Jordan. And as soon as we heard it, our hearts melted, and there is no spirit left in any man because of you, for the fear of, or sorry, for the Lord your God, he is God in the heavens above and on the earth beneath. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that, as I have dealt kindly with you, you also will deal kindly with my father's house, and give me a sure sign that you will save alive my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and deliver our lives from death. And so they do that. Um, if God had actually wanted every single one of them to die, then God would not have allowed them to do that. And let me just check something in Matthew really quick. I might be misremembering this part. Yep. Jesus's genealogy. Salmon, the father of Boaz, by Rahab. And I do think it's the same Rahab. Um, so Rahab, if I'm remembering this right, that Rahab from Joshua actually is part of Jesus's family tree. Um, so like again, like how is Jesus and the Old Testament God different?